Right. Okay.
Hi, Sarah. It's great to continue this conversation on the senses and consciousness. And you were saying in our previous conversation about how we experience the world first through non-verbally and through our senses. And then we learn language, as in words and letters. And what I'm fascinated about this too because I have a grandson now who's only 5 months old, and everything he is learning at the moment is sensory. Everything, fingers, touch, um, smell, movement. It's just all sensory, all of it. And of course, he is learning so quickly. He's 5 months old. He's already starting to learn to crawl. But it's all through testing and experimentation and curiosity and touch and taste. And it's all through the senses. But then it's like we leave a lot of that behind when we start using language. And I'm just wondering what you might say about how, even though we have language, and of course we always will, and language has been instrumental in us communicating with one another, but how to remember that language, words aren't everything, and to bring back the richness of learning through our senses to take us to another dimension. It's almost like we've been looking at one thing. We got so preoccupied with words and the language, verbal language and written language, that we've forgotten all these other languages that are non-verbal and sensory. So what's your
Right.
experience of
Right.
that, perhaps in the work that you do?
Well, this is it, and I don't want to. I'm very grateful for technology. I There's so many benefits. I'm very, very grateful for technology, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned about how it's changing our ability to develop language, because our sensory system is not being used the way your grandson is learning through his sensory system. Because I see kids today, very, very young, a tunnel vision of sensory engagement in terms of the technological devices, of the pads and the finger moving things. There isn't the interaction with humans, with their, when you're with your grandson, there's an exchange of sounds. He hears the sounds you make. He makes sounds, you imitate his sounds. There's a back and forth. He sees you smile, he smiles. We don't have that exchange. We don't have the non-verbal language exchanges in terms of tone of voice, facial expressions, body language. And what happens is language, the written language, is being also tunnel vision. We have these shorthand, when we text, it's shorthand. Some words are only represented by a couple of letters, or we have for the first time ever, the dictionary has included as a new word the emo whatever they're called.
Emoji.
I don't know what they're called. The symbols we use for. Yeah, for the first time that is being used instead of a word. So it's so obvious that our sensory experiences are shaping our verbal language. It's that in and of itself is changing. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned about a sensory deprivation. I'm concerned about the the development of our cognitive skills as a result of that sensory deprivation. So, but at the same time, I'm optimistic because I do see people saying, no, I want more than this. I want more than an ebook. I want to buy a book and feel it, feel the pages and read it. So I am seeing a response that's encouraging, but I think awareness is key. We have to be aware. We just have to be aware.
I agree with you about not having the feedback loop if a child is just learning through technology. But it is interesting how people thought that paperback and hard books would be disappeared by now. But there is an increase apparently now. People do want to hold a book and touch it and feel it. I know even I stopped buying real books for a while, but I've started again. So it will be interesting what happens. And it is about awareness because, yes, I mean, I know that you're a counsellor and all the studies around sensory deprivation, if a child is provided with all of the good food and hygiene but not touched, they grow up with huge psychological and emotional issues. So if we don't include the richness of the senses with children, we will have major obstacles in the future. So I'd love to continue the conversation about technology with you in another recording. So we'll continue this in a minute. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you.